application. Can we have a roll call?
Misty Cavanaugh.
Here.
Tony Space.
Here.
Adam Townsend.
Here.
Larry Knopfinger.
Here.
Frank Stevenson. Chad Minzer.
Here.
Mayor, we do have a quorum.
Right, we're going to start the meeting with we'll do the approval of minutes first, and then the approval of bills and payroll, and then we'll have a proclamation.
Okay.
So can we go ahead with the approval of minutes for March 4th?
The March 4th City Council meeting was held in the City Council chambers at 4:30 p.m. It was called to order by Mayor Kevin Cotton. We had the Pledge of Allegiance, invocation, roll call, which the mayor and all city council members were present. We had approval of the minutes of February 20th, 2024. We also had approval of bills and payroll. We had a proclamation for Colon Cancer Awareness Month. We had department reports from the zoning department. We had a second reading of an ordinance repealing Chapter 122 of the City of Madisonville Code of Ordinance relating to non-exclusive franchises to collect, transport, and dispose of commercial and industrial solid waste within the City of Madisonville. That motion was approved. That motion was repealed, I'm sorry. We also had a ordinance amending Chapter 97 of the City of Madisonville Code of Ordinance relating to garbage and refuse, and that motion was approved. That ordinance was approved for second reading. We had a municipal order reappointment of Kent Mills to the Historic District Commission. We also had a discussion of a zoning map amendment on Browning Street, where a motion to listen to the audio recording of the Planning Commission that failed, but we also had another motion to a trial-style hearing for the zoning map amendment from medium-density residential to high-density residential, and that public hearing will be held this Thursday. And then we had a motion to adjourn.
Are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, do I have a motion to approve the minutes? I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we'll have the approval of bills and payroll.
We have the total general fund of $207,190.77, total sanitation of $22,894.96, total electric utility of $193,696.43, total water filter of $26,140.98, total wastewater collection and treatment of $844,882.91. We have department I can't even talk. Governmental payroll, $52,721, police $177,175, fire $208,257, transportation $31,742, cemetery $5,013, park $17,164, sanitation $51,552, light fund $89,332, wastewater treatment of $20,242, wastewater collection of $35,717, water and filter of $55,483. Madisonville Sportsplex of $5,148 for a total estimated biweekly payroll of $749,546.
Do I have a motion to approve the bills and payroll?
So move.
Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. If you can please speak into the microphone. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we have a joint proclamation. And we're joined tonight with Ms. Cassandra Denton with Sanctuary. And we want to first say thank you for all the work that Sanctuary does in our community. And we do have a joint proclamation for the month of April, but we wanted to get this out ahead of time. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month is intended to draw attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and has public health implications for every community. And whereas rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment impact our community, as seen by statistics indicating that 1 in 5 women will have an experienced sexual assault by the time that they complete college. And whereas we must work together to educate our community about what can be done to prevent sexual assault and how to support survivors, and whereas the leadership, dedication, and encouragement, there is compelling evidence that we can be successful in reducing sexual violence in our community through prevention education, increased awareness, and holding perpetrators who commit acts of violence responsible for their actions. Now, therefore, we, Kevin Cotton, Mayor of Madisonville, and Jack Whitfield, Hopkins County Judge Executive, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2024 as Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month in Madisonville and Hopkins County, Kentucky, and call upon all citizens to support the efforts to heighten awareness and work to end all forms of sexual assault. So, Ms. Denton, if you would mind to join me up front. And we want to say thank you for all the work the sanctuary does in our community. Next, we will move on to the department reports. We'll start with our fire department report with Fire Chief Jason Eli. And Chief, if you don't mind to speak into the microphone. That's going to be a problem for you.
Cotton and Council, I'd like to give you the monthly report for the Madisonville Fire Department for the month of February. We had a total of 124 runs, 79 of them were medical, 45 were fire-related. We had a pre-incident value of $1,148,400, and we had a fire loss for the month of $252,000. And on our dispatch to arrival was 4 minutes and 46 seconds, and our dispatch to responding, that's getting out the door, was 1 minute and 19 seconds. We spent an average of 28 minutes and 28 hours. I'm sorry. Yeah, on scene, 28 hours on scene.
28 minutes on.
Yeah, and then a month training hours of 1,509. Our pre-inspections was 56. Our fire prevention inspections was 30 for the month. We had 143 code enforcement cases. And then on our community outreach, we had 5 programs. We issued 2 smoke detectors, and we had contact with 898 adults and 225 children.
Do you have any questions for Chief Eli?
Full staff now, Chief?
Not currently. We just put 4 recruits on the trucks. I'm sorry, 4 recruits on the trucks, and we're in the process of hiring. We have 1 gentleman just come back as a rehire, and we have 2 laterals that's in the process of being hired.
Congratulations on your 4 new guys hitting the trucks this weekend. So
Sunday was their first, 2 of them's first day, and one of them's today. So anyway, they're excited after 10 weeks of training. So
bet
they're ready to do some stuff.
Any other questions for Chief Eli? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from our police chief, Steve Bryan.
Afternoon, Mayor Cotton and council members. During the month of February, the police department answered 4,477 total call responses, made 290 total arrests, 72 felonies and 218 non-felonies, investigated 51 accidents, and average response time is 3.45 minutes. On to page 2. The drug seizures for the month. Street value, $6,346, and the most common drug seized was methamphetamine. On to page 3. Traffic accidents, highest times were Mondays at 9 a.m. And then on the last page, calendar year to date, Part 1 crimes are down 32%. All others up 73 for a total increase of 53%. And, like I said last month, that is due to an abnormally high number of drug arrests in January. So what that'll do is I think we'll see that flatten as the year goes on. I think we were at 69% last month. But that is due to the proactivity of our officers. If you go back to page 1 and look at traffic stops, we had 900 and something this month compared to 600 in February of last year. So that's going to affect your Part 2 and all other crimes. So I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Full strength too?
Yes, sir. We are. And dispatch as well. First time we've been pulling dispatch. 5 years probably.
Chief, I know that there's been some developments in the state budget. Can you give us an update on kind of what we've been working on and where that's at and what the rest of this week looks like?
Sir, so I think it was last week the Senate budget came out and the police academy is in there for Madisonville. They have put $50 million in there for basically what will be phase 1. So that does not mean it's a done deal by any means. However, it is in 2 of the 3. It's in the governor's budget. It's in the Senate's budget. It's not in the House budget, but that's a really good sign because over the next week or 2, what will happen, they'll all get together and hash it out and come up with a final draft. So what we're hoping and praying is that it makes that final draft. It is a top priority, I feel like, for a lot of the legislators that we've spoken to. And so to see it in there is a really good sign, but we're not there yet. It's close.
And then we'll be spending the end of this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, in Frankfort, advocating for that on the House side.
To push it across the finish line.
And then also, do you want to give an update on our current training center and the success that you've seen over this past couple of weeks out there?
Yeah, I don't want to steal my own thunder because I want to come back here next month and do a presentation for you guys on our training center just to a little bit of information on how our first year went. I got a couple awards I want to give out to some of our personnel that have really worked hard to make that happen because it wasn't me. We had people out there doing the work to make it what it is right now. So, but I think when I get back up here and we do that presentation and give you the numbers and the stats for our first year, you'll be pleasantly surprised. We just want us to know the investment that you guys have made in our department. You to see that it's having on law enforcement, our community.
Any other questions for Chief Brown? Thank you, Chief. Next, we're going to move into committee reports, and we have a report from the Zoning and Annexation Committee.
Yes, the Annexation and Zoning Committee met today to discuss the prospect of annexing into city limits properties that the city owns on the west side. A consensual recommendation, and the committee would like to make the recommendation to the full council, and I so move that the initiate annexation process with a first reading of an ordinance that would then be forwarded to the joint commission for their disposition.
So is that in the form of a motion?
Motion is that the council would approve directing that to be pursued, the ordinance and its referral to the, you have a draft available in your packet, be forwarded to the Joint Planning Commission for their disposition.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Kim, can we have a roll call?
Misty Cavanaugh. Tony Space.
Yes.
Adam Townsend.
Yes.
Larry Knopfinger.
Yes.
Frank Stevenson.
Yes.
And Chad Minzer.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion passes. All right, next we'll move into resolutions. We have a resolution to declare surplus fire equipment.
Whereas the City of Madisonville Fire Department owns equipment that are no longer in service, and that the City of Madisonville Fire Department requests to dispose of the below described equipment by means appropriate according to KRS 82.083. And there is several things listed. I'm not 100% sure how you say that. It's a power unit, a spreader, a cutter, and a Genesis 41-inch ram. Now therefore be it resolved as follows: the equipment is now declared as surplus property, and the city is authorized to dispose of the equipment by means appropriate to, according to KRS 82.083.
Do I have a motion to surplus this fire equipment?
So moved.
Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we have a resolution to make application through the Kentucky Division of Waste Management for recycling funding through the 2024-2025 Kentucky Pride Fund Recycling Grant Program.
Whereas the City of Madisonville, wherever appropriate, seeks outside funding opportunities to assist in providing equipment and supplies that increase the ability to offer services to the community. And whereas the 2024-2025 Kentucky Pride Fund Recycling Grant Program offers the opportunity for the City of Madisonville to be better stewards of the environment through an expansion of its current recycling program. And whereas the 2024-2025 Kentucky Pride Recycling Grant Program requires successful applications to provide a minimum of 25% of the grant request in the form of cash or in-kind match. Now therefore be it resolved that on the 18th day of March 2024 by the City of Madisonville, Kentucky, that the mayor or his designee may make an application through the 2024-2025 Kentucky Pride Fund Recycling Grant Program.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the resolution that she just read for the grant?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we have the first reading of an ordinance annexing certain real estate into the city limits of Madisonville, Kentucky, owned by the City of Madisonville.
Be it ordained by the City of Madisonville, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, that the City of Madisonville, Kentucky, pursuant to KRS 81A.412, does hereby annex certain unincorporated territory into the city limits of Madisonville. The unincorporated territory hereby annexed is more particularly described as Exhibit A as map 5-2-3, map 79-10A, map 7910, and map 7910C-1, attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. Section 2, that the City of Madisonville and Hopkins County are the record title owners of the property to be annexed and have given their written notarized consent to the annexation of the subject property. Since the owner of the subject properties to be annexed have consented in writing to the proposed annexation pursuant to the provisions of KRS 81A.412, there is no requirement for a notification ordinance as required by KRS 81A.420 subsection 1, or a notice requirement pursuant to KRS 81A.425, or a waiting period of 60 days as provided in KRS 81A.420 subsection 2. Prior to enacting a final ordinance annexing the subject property. Section 3, the area hereby annexed is adjacent or contiguous to the city's boundaries and by reason of popularity, density, commercial, industrial, institutional, or governmental use of land or subdivision of land is urban in character and suitable for development for urban purposes without unreasonable delay. Section 4, no portion of the area to be annexed is included within the boundary of another incorporated city. Section 5, the City of Madisonville hereby finds it is desirable to annex the unincorporated territory described in Exhibit A. Section 6, the unincorporated territory hereby annexed will be assigned as a zoning classification by the Hopkins County Joint Planning Commission at its regular meeting to be held on March 28, 2024. A map reflecting the area hereby annexed is attached hereto and is required by KRS 81A.412. And there's that map.
Right, with that being said, there'll be no vote on the first reading, so the last order of business is,
Make a motion to adjourn.
so we have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.